Welcome to the deep dive. If you're getting ready for the IELTS and maybe focusing particularly on the listening module, you're definitely in the right place today.
That's right.
We've gathered the latest info on the new computer-based format, and our mission really is to walk you through these updates so you feel confident tackling them.
Exactly. Keeping up with these changes is honestly half the battle in preparation. We're going to dig into this digital shift for the listening test and what it actually means for how you study and, what happens on test day.
Okay, let's get into it then. First off, the basics. Whether you're doing academic or general training IELTS, the listening module itself, its purpose is still the same, isn't it?
Absolutely. Still the same core goal. It's all about assessing how well you understand spoken English across different scenarios, everyday chats, talks by one person, discussions, lectures.
Right.
And it still takes about, roughly 30 minutes.
Okay, good. And it's still divided into those four parts, sometimes called sections, I think. Can we just quickly recap what those are?
Sure. So part one, that's usually a conversation, two speakers normally, in a regular social setting. Think like arranging travel or booking a hotel room.
Okay, typical stuff.
Yeah. Then part two is a monologue, so just one speaker. Again, usually an everyday topic, maybe describing local services or giving information on a tour.
Got it. And parts 3 and 4 move towards more academic or training contexts.
Precisely. Part three is another conversation, but this time it might involve two, three, or even four speakers, often students talking about coursework with a tutor, something like that.
Mm.
And finally, part four is another monologue, one speaker, but on an academic subject, so very much like a slice of a university lecture.
And across all four parts, it's still 40 questions total, 10 for each.
That's correct, 40 questions. And a really crucial point to remember, you only hear the audio once.
Just once. No repeats.
No repeats. So you've got to be switched on, really listening attentively the whole time.
Definitely emphasizes focus. And just so everyone's clear, the accents you hear can vary quite a bit, right? British, Australian, New Zealand, North American.
And Canadian, yeah. Exposure to different accents during your prep is, well, it's pretty vital.
Okay. Now, here's where things get maybe a bit different. The computer-based test itself. What are the major changes people need to know?
Well, the biggest one, the headline change, I'd say, is the time you get to check your answers. With the
Yes.
paper test, you get that 10-minute block at the end, specifically to transfer answers onto the sheet.
Right.
But on the computer, you type your answers directly as you listen, and then afterwards, you generally only get about 2 minutes just to review what you've put on screen.
Only 2 minutes, down from 10.
Yeah, it's a significant drop. That's the key takeaway. It really changes how you need to manage your time during the listening sections.
Wow. Okay. That 2 minute window sounds intense. How should people adapt? It feels like you need to be much more confident in your answers as you go.
You do.
Right.
And be careful, because some older guides might still mention 10 minutes for the computer test, which is confusing.
Right. Outdated info.
Yeah, current information points clearly to this much shorter review, maybe 2 minutes, sometimes essentially no separate transfer time because you're answering live.
Yeah.
So practicing answering accurately in the moment is key.
Okay, so that time pressure is a big one. What about actually using the computer interface? How does that change the feel of it?
Well, navigating is all click-based, which honestly can be quite helpful. You can skip between questions within a part easily if you need to check something,
Mm-hmm.
and the questions are right there on the screen while the audio is playing.
Having them visible, is that always good?
It can be. It's a prompt, for sure. But, it could also potentially be distracting if you haven't practiced focusing on the audio while scanning the questions. It's a skill.
I can see that. Practice balancing those two things. What about taking notes? Is it all digital now?
Actually, no. You still get good old-fashioned paper and a pencil for scribbling notes, which many people find helpful.
Oh, that's good to know.
But the system also lets you highlight text in the questions on screen, and you can type short notes directly onto the screen too. So you've got options, really, depending on what works best for you.
Okay, flexibility there. Pen and paper still available. And timekeeping, is there a clock?
Yep, there's a timer visible on the screen the whole time. Helps you keep track of how you're doing across the different parts.
Useful. And the obvious one, headphones. Does that make a difference?
Generally, yes. Most find it leads to clearer audio. It can really help cut out background noise in the test room.
Okay. So we've covered the main format shifts. Does this computer delivery change the types of questions asked? Are we seeing new question formats?
No, fundamentally, the question types are the same for both paper and computer. You'll still get your multiple choice single answer or sometimes picking multiple answers.
Yeah.
You'll have matching tasks, connecting items from, say, two lists. Plan, map, or diagram labeling is still common, filling in labels on a visual.
And all those fill-in-the-blank type questions, form completion, notes, summaries.
Still there. Form, note, table, flowchart, summary, sentence completion, all standard. And for these, it's so important to stick to the word limits given.
Yes, the word count.
Go over, even by one word like a or the, and you lose the mark. And of course, spelling and grammar need to be accurate when you type. Quick tip. Hyphenated words usually count as one word. And they don't tend to test contractions like don't. You'd write do not if needed.
Good points. And short answer questions are still in the mix, too.
Yes, where you need to write a brief answer based on what you hear.
Okay, so familiar territory on the question types. Now, looking ahead, standardized tests always seem to evolve. Are there whispers of potential future updates, maybe for 2025 or beyond?
There's some interesting talk, yeah. One potential development is something called adaptive questioning.
Adaptive, what does that mean?
Basically, the test might adjust the difficulty of questions based on how you're doing. Get one right, the next might be slightly harder. Get one wrong, maybe slightly easier.
Wow, like AI-driven.
Kind of, yeah. Using algorithms to get a more precise measure of your listening ability.
That could really change things. Anything else?
Well, there's mention of potentially improving audio quality further, especially thinking about virtual or remote testing options. Clearer sound is always good.
Definitely.
And another interesting possibility is more integration of visual aids. So maybe seeing charts or diagrams on screen while you're listening and needing to interpret both together to answer.
So combining listening with visual data interpretation?
Exactly. That's another layer. If that comes in, practicing with tasks that involve both audio and visuals would become even more important.
That does sound like a new challenge. Okay, what about scoring? Does the computer format change how it's marked?
Nope. Scoring principles are the same. 1 mark per correct answer. Crucially, no penalty for wrong answers.
No negative marking.
Correct. So your raw score, the number you get right out of 40, is converted into that final IELTS band score from 1 to 9.
Which means the old advice still stands. Never leave an answer blank. Guess if you have to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You literally have nothing to lose by guessing. Always put something down.
Okay, pulling it all together. What are the key tips for succeeding, especially this computer format? We know active listening and accent familiarity are still fundamental.
For sure. Those skills are the bedrock. Practice listening for main ideas and specific details. Keep exposing yourself to different English accents. Also, really use that preview time before each part starts. Scan the questions, try to predict the topic or the kind of information you need to listen for.
And any specific computer-based tips?
Definitely. Since you're typing, pay extra attention to spelling, and grammar typos can cost you marks.
Right.
And the big one, practice specifically with computer-based mock tests. You need to get comfortable with the screen layout, how to navigate, clicking answers, using the highlighter if you want, and crucially, managing your time with that very short 2-minute review period. That familiarity reduces stress on the day.
So getting used to the digital environment is key. Even if, say, someone preparing doesn't always have perfect internet for online mocks, maybe timing themselves strictly on paper could help simulate some pressure.
That's a good point. Simulating the time pressure is vital. Even offline, practicing listening sections and giving yourself only a minute or two to check answers afterwards forces you to develop that speed and confidence in your initial responses. It mimics that no time to waste feeling.
Makes sense. So wrapping up, the computer-based IELTS listening test introduces some major changes, especially that reduced answer check time, but also potential upsides like easier navigation, maybe clearer audio.
Exactly. The core listening skills haven't changed, but adapting your strategy to the digital interface and that time constraint is absolutely crucial now.
So thinking about the bigger picture then, how might this move towards a more digital IELTS listening test change how people prepare for and even think about language tests in general? It does make you consider that balance, doesn't it, between tech convenience and the fundamental language skills being measured.
That's a great question to leave people with. It really prompts thought about how technology isn't just changing how we test, but maybe subtly shifting what skills get emphasized. Are digital literacy and test-taking speed becoming almost as important as pure listening comprehension? It's definitely something for you, the listener, to think about as you prepare for this evolving landscape.